This episode of Speakers of Eidolon is made possible by our generous patrons, like Omejicat Comet, Saray Cypher, Hans Grenade, Anna Ginteres, Bob Cece, Faris Gentoru, Cletus Oreo, Luke Leonatrell, Sapa Chakwatol, Courtney, Circa Barrakiel, Casey Schaefer, Lily Black, Chaitan, Cheshire Saltiri, Erisu Yamakawa, Sisirifula Lirifu, Daimos, Nina Grimsdaughter, Asuta Starbreeze, Quick Levin, Sayori Snowfall, Yuana Nitsa, Miscellaneous Cargo, Duke Jarlsberg, Stella Bell, Yernthota Aurora, Boogie Bear, Remy Asalia, Cirrus, Icy Lee, Lyria Rain, CNG Lipscomb, Dalamud Papodo, Kaisa Regina, Pamela Isley, Umbral Wind, and Zachary Walton. Support the show and become a patron today at patreon.com/speakersxiv. Thank you.
This is Speakers of Eidolon.
Good evening, Aorsians. Welcome to Speakers of Eidolon, episode 162. I'm Lukeil Bravestone, and I'm joined today by Georgi Whiston and, ladies and gentlemen, the return of the king, Rollo Dead!
Welcome back, Rollo.
Rollo is back, although only like partially, not in video form, but in audio form.
Static Brothers. Yeah.
Right, so he's not dead. There we go. We've sorted that out.
Have you been on holiday?
Stop blaming me for shit.
You got a tan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Area 51 changes you.
Yeah.
I stepped into the wrong room.
Welcome everyone to episode 162 with a full cast. We haven't had a full cast since July.
Don't say that.
It's been 10 episodes since Rollo was here last.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. Today's
count.
today's main story is, believe it or not, more PAX West interviews.
Yeah.
So
Yay.
current. Well, the thing is, the PAX West interviews are fine because they're not news, if you know what I mean. They're just like development stuff.
Yeah.
They're talking with Ichikawa and Suzuki. So we'll read through 3 of them today. I know, a lot.
Whoa.
And we will talk about Tales from the Shadows, so more spoilers. It's the last Tales of the Shadows. I don't know where I'm going with that. It is the last Tales of the Shadows. From the Shadows. Okay.
A very unexpected protagonist.
Yes. I feel like most of these have been like unexpected. Like, because we thought we saw, initially when we saw the first story, we were like, we know where this is going. It's going to be about all the scions. But it was just one scion. We'll also read Mogmail, hopefully, by the end of this. Although I think we're going to be pressed for time, but we will try. Stay tuned for the post-show. Rollo will not be there for the post-show, right? I hope not, because I haven't updated the overlay.
True.
Okay, nice.
I have to. I gotta wear my dashiki.
Yeah. But stay tuned for that, because we will do something, I guess. I have a channel update. I have an announcement to make.
Oh my god.
Remnants of a Realm, Allag, is out! It's out!
Yay!
It's out for patrons. We did it before the 7 remake came out. So it's good for everyone else. It'll be out in a week-ish. We'll see. It might be out next week for us because it's Saturday, but yeah, you know what I mean. So look out for that. Patrons, make sure to check. If you're a Master Supreme, it's already announced on Discord, but if not, you will have to go to Patreon to see it. Okay. Now, it's so good. We can talk about it on the post-show. We'll talk about how good it is that I'm done with that episode. let's talk about. Well, we didn't really want to talk about what we've done in 14 this week because we haven't really done much, but we're doing it anyways. I'm brute forcing this segment in. I can start because I haven't done much, which I think is going to be a recurring theme here. But I think I might do more going forward because now I don't have to do Roar, so I might actually be able to catch up. I am leveling Paladin still. I'm trying. And then I am also starting to level a DPS. So I'm actually leveling Summoner, which I don't know why.
Why do you want to break your fingers?
Why would you level Summoner when you can just level
I keep hearing
Scholar?
No, because I want to try it. Because I keep hearing how not advanced, but how busy it is. So I just wanted to see what it is, and it is quite busy. I'm only level 70 though, so I haven't reached peak busyness yet. Yeah, that's all I've done. Mela?
Hello, Lucia.
Hello.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Well, I've capped already, so I only waste my time on Monday with you guys. I was leveling a bit today on my Astrologian. Did Heaven on High, would you believe it?
What?
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Keep forgetting that exists.
And then I pressed M and saw how many side quests I've still got to do in the Ruby Sea, so that'll be a task for me. Maybe on my Red Mage? I don't know. I tried to do all the side quests before Shadowbringers, and I managed to do all of A Realm Reborn and Heavensward.
Right.
Like, all the chains, because there's quite long ones.
And now Stormblood
and I started on Stormblood, but...
Good luck with that, buddy.
Yeah.
At least once it's done, it's done. That's what I keep telling myself with this game.
Yeah.
And some of them are quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get really good ones. Like the Bittermill ones for unlocking the Ananta were really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Some of them provide a lot of and most of the multi-part ones provide some interesting people to the world.
Yeah.
If it has a screenshot in the quest, it's going to be a good quest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be more in depth.
Yeah.
More in depth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Georgi, you haven't done much this week?
I guess I've leveled a little bit of my crystal character and a little bit of black mage on my chaos character.
Right.
But other than that, not really that much. I haven't even gotten that many tomes yet. I've gotten about 150 on each.
Oh no!
Well,
I
it's
guess
more than I have. I have 30 because I only have the ones from,
from
the raid.
No!
Yeah, we did raid earlier this week. We cleared E1S again.
Yeah, and
Again.
who wasn't there?
Wasn't this one?
It wasn't this
I was
one.
here. What? Don't bully me.
This one was
yeah.
here. This one.
This one.
Yourself?
We will hopefully get to see E2S again next week because it seems like we'll have everyone, but we'll see.
We'll
Right.
clear it.
And then Rollo,
What have you done in the
what
last
have
3
you
months?
done? Yeah, the last few months. No. In 14. Let's go through 14. What did you do
Alright.
last week?
Well, I got all my onions. That's important. Got those off the lot on the chaos character because Georgi was like, "I want to use the farm plot," so like whatever. Fine, I'll take my 20 Thavnarian onions for myself, but he can have one because he asked for one. So
Yeah.
Thank you. I sent you an onion.
Oh, you did? Oh yeah, a little onion minion, onion knight or something.
Yeah.
I've just been mostly trying out the new jobs, just leveling them up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's enjoyable. I like Gunbreaker a lot. 'cause
Gunbreaker is fun.
Gunbreaker is very fun.
Yeah.
I love tanking in this expansion. It's all I want to do.
Yeah.
Dancer's fun. I mean, I know we've talked about the jobs already, but it really just feels like they gutted Bard to make Dancer this good.
Yeah.
It almost feels
Yeah.
bad. I'm
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, this is really fun and really good, but now look at Bard. It's like Dancer just stole everything.
Yeah. Basically.
Hopefully we see a little bit of rebalancing in 5.1.
Yeah. They talked about that in the live letter, I think. So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
that'll be a thing. Other than that, though, I've not I haven't been able to cap out on Gears, so I'm very behind.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited for 5.1 to come out so I can catch up.
Yeah.
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 You can just get your
Get the weekly gear.
your near raid gear.
Near gear.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
listen, you guys saw the weapons, right? Those are weapons from Nier
Yeah.
on 2D.
Right.
So
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh.
but will we get them? That's the question.
Yeah,
Because we don't normally get weapons from raids, 24-man
better.
raids.
Yeah.
That's true.
you better.
Uh,
With power, you better. I want it.
We
okay.
can hope.
We need to move on. It's time for recent events.
Oh.
And in recent events, Tales from the Shadow. I keep saying shadows. I think it even is it Shadow? Shadow. Or Shadows?
Shadows.
It's Shadows.
Shadows.
Yeah, Shadows.
Plural.
You are correct when you keep saying Tales from the Shadows.
Thank God. Right, this week, spoilers, by the way, I will...
Oh yeah, do the wave.
What do we use this time? I will use this Switch Joy-Con...
Oh wow, we're really a brain
Holder.
from Allen key to
Yeah, it's just the cheap, the thing.
very yeah, they're
Yeah.
very horrible to
Yeah,
feel.
I know, awful. There we go. We're in spoiler. When I wave this again, it's over.
You always
Always
wave it
spoiler.
before you
I
actually
know,
announce.
I'm sorry. I just here we go. Spoilers. So this Tales from the Shadow story is about Emmett Selk. Well, yeah,
Young Hades.
Hades. is what I was
Hades,
trying to
yes.
say.
Young Hades.
Young Hades, I mean,
Young
Yes, sir.
relatively.
Younger Hades. It gives us some insight into his relationship with
Hythlodius.
Hythlodius.
Yeah.
And we get they have a weird relationship.
He's a cheeky chappy, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is.
Hythlodius.
Yeah. And
You don't get the opportunity to experience it like that in the game.
No.
No. And I quite like that because in game the Mauritines seemed really stuffy and boring.
Mhm.
So it's nice
Yeah.
to see that when they were young they had personalities.
Yeah. Hades is very the opposite almost of Hythlothius, I think.
Yeah.
But basically what happens is this is right after he's been wait, is this when right after Hades had become
Emmett Selk.
Emmett Selk?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yes. A member of the Convocation.
Yes. And Hythlodius approaches Hades. He tells him that they've created like some sort of bird because he's the head of what is this
Bureau of
department
the
called?
Architect.
Yeah, the architect.
Phantomology.
Yeah, well, isn't it like his office is called?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
something of the
yeah,
architect?
he's part of the architect.
Yeah, which
yes.
is basically where they create things.
It's like the patent office.
Yeah.
Mm.
But before we talk about that, though, it talks about the underworld. It tells us about the concept of the underworld in
Yeah.
on that world, where Hades can see.
It's kind of like the ethereal sea, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah,
But they call it the underworld on there because it's Greek.
yeah, and he's got like more of a. He's got a very strong. What do they call it?
Like the sight, I guess.
Sight?
Yeah, they call it a sight.
Yeah.
Hades got a strong sight, but Hythlodius is stronger.
Yes. So Hythlodius tells Emmett that they had created like a bird that was immortal or whatever.
An immortal bird that was going to be used for healing. So
Yes.
it's at least nice.
But he wanted Emmett or Hades to come look at it. And when they do, he sees like a sparkle in the chest of the bird, which is a soul. which is something they cannot create themselves.
No. They're only supposed to be able to create things with souls if they're things that already exist.
Yes. And this bird cannot die, but it also has like a pull towards the underworld, and it is like hurting itself and healing itself endlessly.
Yeah.
So it's like in constant pain. And so Hades says that they should just dispose of it. They should just destroy it. But then Hythlodia says, we can't do that because it's immortal. And that's why he called on Hades, because Hades can guide it to the underworld. Isn't that what it's supposed to signify? Because he does like this whole thing where he like grows.
Yeah.
Does he grow into like what he looks like when he's the boss?
That's what I was assuming
guess so,
based on the
yeah.
description.
Okay, right.
But it kind of like
That'd be
the camera
terrifying.
pans away.
Yeah. Walking down the street seeing that. That's not...
Yeah.
Just without the mask, I
There
guess.
goes Hades.
He is inside a building at the time, so it's
Yeah.
not as bad.
That's why the buildings are so big.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
We forgot to mention they do say that La Habrea probably made this, right? Or was part of
Do
it?
they?
La Habrea is mentioned in the
They're
story.
responsible.
I just read chat and there was something about La Habrea.
It's from the words of La Habrea.
Oh, from the words
which is,
of La
Yeah,
Habrea.
which is part of Academia Oneida and part of which is the
Yeah,
department in
entomology.
Academia Oneida
Right.
in charge of entomology.
there we go.
Which is that's where I got that from earlier.
Yeah, right. So then it just transitions, like there's a chapter, that's the end of that chapter. Next chapter, Solus wakes up.
Yes.
He's an old man. It's the old emperor, the one we've seen in the
Yeah.
artwork.
Big bed.
Yeah. Which is, of course, still Hades or Emet-Selch, whatever you want to call him. And that was interesting. I liked that part, too, because at first I'm like, oh, but I want to know more about the Amarok side of Emmet. But this part, too, has always been a mystery, and it sort of answered some
A
questions.
little bit.
He, obviously old. He's woken by Varus.
His grandson.
Yeah, his grandson. And he does not like Varus. You can kind of tell. He's very disappointed in, he hates everything on our world.
Well,
But,
he hates
except for his son, which apparently...
and I think his wife.
And it's sort of, his wife probably too. But it's sort of implied that his son was one of the few things he liked on this world. And then that son died. And now he looks at his grandson and is like, what a fucking pathetic creature.
A worse version.
Yeah, basically.
A worse version.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I wonder if the reason he looked at his son with hope is maybe he saw the spark of a soul that was familiar to him.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
As for why he was upset about Varus, I think it was because it makes specific mention of how Varus is, like, even amongst Garleans, like, remarkably tall.
Yeah.
I feel as if that might remind him of Amaratines, but he's still not an Amaratine, so it just upsets him.
Yeah, I hate your body
That's
is what he
true.
said, which is very rude to say, by the way.
Yeah.
My tall grandson. Fuck.
Yeah, very odd.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see like his true thoughts while he was an old emperor of Garlemald. Though.
Yeah.
Like he's a mega nostalgia fan. He can't get enough of
Yeah.
it.
He's definitely Gen 1er.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he has
The story... Yeah, Mela?
I was saying he has to play the part of emperor. And I
Yeah.
don't think he likes it.
No. Go on, Georgi.
The story contains a nice screenshot of what Amarok used to look like before it was under the water.
Yes,
That's true.
That's
with
true.
the starry sky behind it,
Mhm.
and it's a different starry sky.
Yeah, it's not
Yes.
cows.
Yeah.
And I like how it has the trademark of all cities' sickly light pollution glow around it. It's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it looks cool.
Mhm.
It looks like New York or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like
I
a
mean,
big
Fantasy
urban
New
sprawl.
York.
Fantasy
Yeah.
New York.
Yeah.
I
Very
think
bizarre.
it's not made clear, but I think the Phoenix is supposed to be the first primal.
Possibly so. See, I thought it was Quetzalcoatl at first, and only because it was sort of, in a way, makes sense why you go through the words of La Habrea in the dungeon to get to Quetzalcoatl being summoned, and that's like a memory for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he created the underwater city, so I assumed he would make it like that. But then he says it's like on fire, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's self-healing, which is something phoenixes do.
Mm-hmm.
They rise from the earth. So it's yeah.
Could it be the first instance of Phoenix being summoned as a primal?
It's very possible. But do primals have souls in them?
No, I don't think they do.
No.
I think that's why
no.
this is why it would be a primal, because they are made in the image of something that people imagine
That's
or
true.
Yeah.
mythologized.
Yeah.
And if this is how primals are made, it makes sense how Ascians are able to explain to people how to make them.
That's true.
I think it's interesting that they made a phoenix, though, seeing as how much how big of a symbol the phoenix is in our world as well. Like with the phoenix down and spoilers, Louis Soir becoming a phoenix, the phoenix.
Ugh, you ruined Binding Call for me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, we're in spoiler territory. It's fine.
Yeah, we're in. Yeah, I waved the Switch controller. We're in
Careful.
spoilers.
All spoilers are on.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting. So I'm assuming I'm assuming that's why we have Phoenix on our world.
Yes.
I guess so.
Is it the same one? Because phoenixes can die.
That's
Do we
true.
don't? I don't think we actually have like phoenixes are an actual creature in Eorzea. The only ones that
a
exist,
summon.
It's a mythical thing.
yeah, the only things that exist are Louis Soir Phoenix and yes, technically Suzaku.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no! Come
Summoner
now.
can make one for some reason. Never
Yeah.
explained, but you know.
I think everything from Othard is just it breaks the lore.
Yeah.
It annoys me to no end.
You can't just say that though, because now it exists in our world.
I hate it. I don't want to. I
Yeah.
don't want to acknowledge
Oh, it's just like it's just everything in Eorzea but Asian-y and with different names.
Yeah, but it's like they summon their kami in the same way, basically.
it. Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, how did they learn to do that?
Yeah.
Why did they do that?
Mm.
And then the Four Lords was annoying. Ugh.
Okay.
What?
Let's stay on track. Let's not
I mean,
talk.
they-
We've already
they
given
don't
our review of
summon-
Stormblood.
They don't really summon their kami though.
That's fine.
The only
They
one
have
instance.
Okay, it's fine. Let's just leave that.
Okay.
Phoenix.
Okay.
They made a phoenix in Amarot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all we need to know for now. Right. Anything else we need to talk about with this story before we move on? Anything jumping out at us? I don't think so. I think.
No. The one other thing that is in here, I think, will come up in one of the interviews anyway.
Okay. Yeah. It's always interesting to learn more about Hades and Amarot.
Yeah.
So this was nice.
I never would have expected this.
No.
No.
Right, let's move on. PAX Australia, Georgi.
Yeah.
See you there.
I'm not going.
we
Georgie
mentioned
at PAX Australia is gonna
Yeah.
have a booth.
we kind of mentioned this already. Did we mention this last week? I feel like we did. Or
I
was
think we
it
mentioned it, but we didn't have that. I think we mentioned it, but we didn't have. It might have been in the live letter, but we didn't have like a schedule for it or
Right.
description of events.
We're delighted to announce that Final Fantasy XIV Online will be returning to PAX Australia in Melbourne this year to reunite with all the Warriors of Darkness Down Under. Experienced adventurers should get ready for to battle against Eden's Gate Resurrection in order to get your hands on an I Beat t-shirt.
Just I beat t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I beat for sure.
Always. While newcomers can visit the Sprout Corner to explore Eorzea, try out Guildhests and get a copy of the starter edition for free.
That's the starter edition for free.
Yeah,
That's decent.
yeah, that's pretty good.
How would you not go, George?
Starter edition is just a
go
Realm
on,
Reborn,
Georgie.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But like, you get the full
33
Realm
days.
Reborn.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
A fan gathering will
You
also
can
be
whisper people.
yeah. A fan gathering will also be hosted in Melbourne on the evening of Thursday, October 10th, where both 14 veterans and new adventurers are welcome to join. That's PAX
What
Australia.
would you have to do with anyone if you're new to Final Fantasy XIV? What are you going to talk about?
How do I?
I like
Yeah.
the character creator.
Yeah. PAX Australia starts on October 11th, Friday, through Sunday, October 13th.
It's a weekend, Yogi, so you'll be.
It's at the Melbourne Convention Centre.
We'll all be there actually.
Yeah.
Supposed to meet up in Melbourne.
Yeah. So there's the battle challenge with Eden Prime. Sprout Corner. If you got friends eager to enter the world of Flightland for the first time, be sure to bring them along to this. Yeah, I know. To the Sprout Corner. We'll introduce
It's like
new
bringing your
adventurers
kids and putting them in the ball pit.
to the realm of Eorzea, the job system, and run them through some guild tests to get started.
No past. Why?
That's so non-indicative of what to expect from the game.
Yeah. As an added bonus, all new adventurers will walk away with a free copy of the starter edition, so make sure you don't miss out.
At least let them do Sastasha or something.
Yeah, like a dungeon. Yeah.
Yeah. Too
Get him in
complicated.
Brayflox. Get him
Yeah.
in Brayflox. Come on.
Oh God. Well.
Just throw him in there.
Yeah. Also, the fan gathering is offering friends and fans the perfect opportunity to get together for a few drinks and talk about our favorite game. Places are limited, so be sure to reserve your seat now. They have 200 seats available. If you want to register, you have to send an email to oh my God, SEW. No, I'm not gonna. Just
Don't leave that
find
out.
the post.
You can find it on the Lodestone.
Yeah.
Sorry, Australians. We
So-
won't say it for
No, we won't say it. We refuse. So
200 seats. That's, I mean, from my understanding of the Australian community, that's not going to fill.
My understanding is also that there won't actually be seats.
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah. We have 200 cubic meters.
yeah,
We want you to join.
yeah. There we are. The fan
That
gathering.
sounds
Did I
great.
say the date? It's on Thursday, October 10th. So it's before.
Wow, yeah, it's before, so you can.
Excellent.
Yeah,
go
it
for
is the
drinks
day
and then
before.
join.
And I'm definitely not going to the fan gathering because I
Mm.
have other
Come on.
Oh, go on,
Uh,
Georgie. Take one for the team.
No, it's my mother's
No.
birthday. I'm not going.
Oh my god. Take her with you. Put her in the sprout corner.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm so curious as to what bar this is. I want to find out because it's going to be in a bar, and it's going to be one of the worst bars in Melbourne.
If it's close to you, you at least just walk past it just to see.
It's not close to me. I
well,
don't live in
just,
the city.
just go
Wow.
there. Just walk
Yeah, just go
past.
there and walk
Just
past.
walk past. Moving on. The Final Fantasy XIV orchestral arrangement album, Volume 2,
Wow.
on sale.
Oh, sure, the first one only
cover.
just came out.
I thought
What?
it came out a while ago, like at least a year ago.
The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be a year ago or so. To celebrate the upcoming Eorzean Symphony Final Fantasy XIV Orchestra Concert 2019, what a title, set
Wow.
to take place on September 21st in Japan, a selection of songs from the set list are now available for your listening pleasure in the Final Fantasy XIV Orchestra Arrangement Album Volume 2. With each track performed by a full orchestra, your favorite songs come to life as never before. The first album was pretty good.
Amazing.
So,
Was it good? I don't think I ever listened
The-
to much. I listened to maybe a couple songs.
I would like a track list
Yeah, I
before
would
I
like
do.
that, yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
There's only 8 songs and like
yeah.
100-something songs in this game, so
Yeah.
That's the trouble.
Yeah.
I'd love
Because
to go to a concert of it though.
yeah, I
Yeah,
would
that'd
prefer to go to the concert live, to be honest.
Yeah. So get
Especially
your...
if Soken's there.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
would be awesome.
Right. Let's move on to our main story. There are some more PAX West interviews. I'm assuming this is the last batch of interviews that we're doing.
We live in
We
hope.
said that before.
We have said that before. But if there's more now, I'm just going to take... This is an executive decision. We're not doing more PAX West interviews after
But
this.
what if they have the most revelatory thing inside the
Then
interview?
we will
with you?
just...
We'll skip
then
it.
we'll just cover
Very
that question and answer. That's it.
I feel like you're already going back on what you just said. But, okay.
It depends. Context.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. Wave the Switch controller.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Sorry guys, you missed the arrangement album. Spoilers are over. Audio listeners, I'm sorry. I fucked up your day probably if you were just listening on your way to work and we've just ruined everything.
Audio listeners, they don't even see you shake the controller.
I know, that's what I'm
Exactly, so
saying.
how are they going to know when to
So we just went straight into like, oh, I have spoilers. I can't talk about the spoilers that we just talked about now. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. Interviews. We'll start with an interview made by VG247. This is with Ishikawa and Suzuki. All of them are.
Their interview was in more of a story-like format, so I've mostly condensed it down to like their responses.
All right. Yeah,
But that means there's not really any questions, so you
Right.
just have to see what they're talking about.
Okay. Okay, we took two distinct approaches when designing Sin Eaters. There were many different kinds of Sin Eaters that appeared throughout the story that players had to fight, so we wanted many varying designs. There were quite a few designs. I feel like we don't really... one thing I like about the Sin Eaters is that they're not like regular overworld mobs.
Yeah.
So they're like... when you see them, you're like, oh shit. They feel more unique.
They're pretty impactful. I like that.
Yeah.
It's not like Void Scent where you can see them in the overworld.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, there was not enough staff to create the many Sin Eaters we had imagined, so we had to be efficient with the assets already at our disposal. Some of our existing monster designs already had a base color of white or blue, leaving us with the question, can we do color variants on those? The other approach was a lot more work. For the Light Wardens, the major Sin Eaters, an original model was created for each. These used to be a living being that was twisted into a Sin Eater by the light. So care was taken to ensure we honored what the Light Wardens originated from, whether it was a person or an animal. It's true. The Light
Crazy
Wardens
monkey
are all
guy.
very cool.
How much do you know about the Light Warden lore? Because it's mentioned in the triad.
Sorry, you cut out there. What did you say? It's mentioned where?
In their triple triad card descriptions.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where I found out most of the lore of the.
I know nothing about the Light Wardens other than, the one from Amarang. Her name keeps escaping me.
Tesleen,
yeah.
Tesleen, yeah. Well, she doesn't have a triple triad card. Like
Sad.
the one in Lakeland, Philia.
Mm-hmm.
Its name means brotherly love, and it was named because of the fact that it was a person who turned into a Sin Eater who, after being turned, chose to return to its home village and devour his former neighbors.
Oh,
Oh!
that's nice.
Okay.
That is brotherly.
Yeah.
love.
Cool. That's the one with the, arm, hand feet?
Yeah, with the arms, yeah.
Yeah, ugh. Well,
So they all have nice names. Their names have nice meanings behind them, like that.
mm-hmm.
Eros's three
Well, they're all
jungle
love, aren't
creatures
they?
that were fused together into one, and that's why they were named after romantic love.
That's
Mockery of what they
disgusting.
became.
What?
That's
So they
the
would
Cerberus
turn mid-act.
Pokemon, right?
Is that the Cerberus one?
Yeah, it's the Cerberus one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
Part
monkeys.
monkey, part something else, part snake.
Gosh, that was a.
Mm.
Don't know what they saw in each other.
No.
So,
Any other Light Warden?
Storge. Storge is
Which one is
familial
that?
love.
You have to tell us where it's from because I can't remember.
Okay. Storge is the one in Malachar as well. It's the one that's like all
the abstract one.
miscellaneous floating wings.
Oh, I like that one.
It supposedly feasts upon the memories infused within its domain. Supposedly a queen's adulation for her departed king. So it's seemingly like a fairy.
It's like an
Okay.
emotion.
Represent-
Oh, I guess that explains the kind of weird design
Yeah,
Mm,
I see.
with the wings and the such.
Yeah.
yes. So I thought that was interesting, but I was kind of annoyed that I only found out about them when I got my first
Yeah.
Light Warden triple triad card.
I can't wait for if we ever get the third volume of the lore book, because it's probably going to
Yeah.
have more lore about the
Yeah.
different Light Wardens. Okay.
I wonder if we'll find out about that because there's 4 Greek loves, and we have one that's missing. I can't remember which one it is, but I'm curious as to if we'll either find out about it in the lore book or if it will be a boss in one of like the dungeons that we'll get in a patch.
Yeah. Probably will. Maybe.
Lots
Wait,
of,
I can't imagine a situation where we'd go back to like killing Light Wardens, though.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
There's the unconditional one, Agape love.
Oh, right. Is that the one that's
lots of Greek
missing?
stuff.
Yeah,
I
Agape,
guess
that's
so.
the one that's
Okay,
missing.
yeah.
That's the godly love. So good
Right.
luck.
Okay. Moving on. When work began on A Realm Reborn and the relaunch, we couldn't be sure that there would be ever be an expansion, let alone 3 of them. So the narrative could never leave players hanging for too long or clamoring for resolutions that may never come into fruition. Each storyline has to be resolved to some extent. However, we do leave certain loose ends. For example, the Crystal Tower Alliance Raid series. Part of that conclusion contained an element that we wanted to use for a future storyline, a cliffhanger of sorts. With Shadowbringers, we could finally return to it. So there are hints like that sprawled out like that within Final Fantasy XIV's overarching narrative, and we try to connect those dots when we find the right time for them. The Crystal Exarch's identity is an important reveal and significant moment for many reasons, not just for players, but for those of us on the development team as well. It's an example of those loose ends we leave coming around full circle later down the line. But at the same time, we wanted people to come to like the Crystal Exarch without knowing his backstory. So that regardless of their familiarity with the Crystal Tower storyline, old and new players alike got to know him on the same terms. It's why his face is hidden for most of Shadowbringers. Though, of course, those that played through the Crystal Tower series first would have that added shocking reveal. So we weren't afraid to have a position where some players might not have the whole truth behind them.
That's fair
Was it
enough.
really a shocking reveal?
No.
Well, no, because
For us in the loop, it isn't. Like,
No.
come on.
Mm.
But I knew some people that were genuinely surprised and like, oh wow, I didn't see
Yeah.
that coming. I did Crystal Tower like fucking ages ago.
I feel
Yeah.
like if you've done the Crystal Tower storyline, you get if you've done the Crystal Tower storyline, you get like an additional
Yeah.
option in certain cutscenes. And the first time you get one, it literally says Graha Tia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the moment you see that, you should be like, oh,
Yeah.
of course,
But then if you
Graha
don't,
Tia.
you must be
Yeah,
thinking,
and
what does this mean? Who's Graha Tia?
Yeah.
I don't think you get that option if you haven't done the Crystal Tower storyline.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but imagine if you did it like 10 years ago and
The game didn't
never
exist
touched it
10
again.
years ago.
You know what I mean, though. You did it in the beginning and never remembered it.
Mm.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you were watching Speakers, it would definitely not be a surprise to you because
Yes.
we had talked about it for months before.
Yeah.
Every time we saw a picture of him, we're like, I didn't even call him the Crystal Exarch for most, even after the game came out, until I started
You were
moderating
just
myself.
spoiling it.
That was
on you.
Well, I was spoiling it. I was spoiling it, but I didn't because that was just what we were saying. We just always called him Graha, and I feel like it would be more spoilery if I just suddenly went back to saying, "Oh, the mystical Crystal Exarch." Anyways,
Okay, excuses.
yeah. Okay. Right. I adore writing last bosses. I love the concept of that kind of villain, not just Emmett Selk or any other specific character. This is Ishikawa saying this. But someone that thinks they're in the right when in reality their actions are monstrous. They might have a striking background that makes them relatable on some level, yet you still need to defeat them because they're evil. I'm very proud of how I could depict Emmett in the narrative. It's true. At the end, you'd kind of
true.
feel bad.
Yeah, I wanted to be his friend.
Yeah. and
You
we were
understand.
at some point.
Yeah.
So, we haven't talked about the French, the
Oh
French
yes,
Oh,
that's true.
yeah.
mistake. It's not a mistake. It's just
I don't know if it's a
French.
mistake. I just think it's they can't work around it.
So, if you're not in the loop, the Tales from the Shadows is translated into all the different languages that the game supports, including French, and in French, there's all this like gender stuff the pronouns stuff that you have to. There's a toggle, literally a toggle, at the top of each story. That mentions your character or whatever.
Yeah.
On this,
Are you a male or female
Yeah.
warrior of light?
Yeah.
on was it this story?
It was on this story.
one, yeah.
It's only a toggle that exists in stories where it's relevant. That doesn't appear if there's no mention
Yeah.
of the warrior of light.
Yeah, right. But if you switch that, the name that Hythlodius, the gender of the person Hythlodius is talking about, the friend, changes to whatever gender you select. So that confirms 100% that that's us.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it was pretty
It was obvious in the story, but
beforehand, I would say, because it was the gender that changed as well in game. But like, I think this is just more further confirmation that
this
that's
is-
the case.
Yeah,
Well, people always had those suspicions too of like, oh, what if we are Hythlodius?
yeah, that
Well, so that's kind of just blown out of the water now.
that is gone. Yeah.
Yeah, they already
They addressed
debunked
that.
that.
Yeah.
At the last panel with
Wasn't it this panel? No,
no, it wasn't this panel. It was the one with Yoshi P and Barney Oda
Oh,
At
yeah.
PAX?
at Gamescom.
Games.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck. Okay.
Right. His
You've
pop.
been out of the loop, Rollo.
Yeah.
I've been doing onions.
Yeah. His popularity was utterly unexpected. When I was designing the model from his build to his hair, to his form, to his face, he's not exactly the best looking guy.
Wow.
That's very terrible posture, I'll say that.
He does have a terrible
Yeah, but that's the only reason he's good. Like,
Yeah.
because he's unique.
Yeah, he is.
Also, why should he care about his posture? He'll just get a new body after.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
but like, I mean, you still gotta like feel something like your bones are creaking.
I don't know.
Oh, he
maybe
can
has-
teleport around. He can do whatever
Yeah,
he
maybe
wants.
he has a certain degree of immunity to those kinds of human.
Georgi, no one is immune to scoliosis. Everyone, please get yourself checked. Scoliosis.
I couldn't believe people took such a liking to him. Ishikawa says, I put a lot of work into writing Emmett. He was my character, so, I wanted him to be popular.
That's fair enough.
Yeah,
He is popular.
he is popular and is very well written. I have this faint memory of it might have been Xenos. I remember I think Yoshi P once said this was probably Xenos. I think I thought it was Emmett, but he said like you're just gonna hate this character because it's just terrible. I think that was actually Xenos, and he was right, by the way,
Yeah.
but probably not
There's
for the
not much-
reasons that he expected.
No, there's not much redeemable at Xenos as a human.
No.
No.
He is less relatable than a centuries-old immortal being.
Yeah.
I kind of like Asahi a bit more almost because he was
Yeah.
so short-lived
He had
and
a
he
yeah.
did his
Yeah.
job.
yeah.
Oh, I
that was
hate
his-
Asahi.
I like to hate Asahi. That's what's
Yeah.
Yeah.
good about him.
Yeah.
This little fucking
Whereas Emmett's-
coconut head motherfucker. Kill him.
Whereas Emmett Selk is just like, and Xenos to a certain degree is just
Yeah.
hate.
Yeah. Okay. Ishikawa is the only one that knows why Emmett Selk has a white streak in his hair. This is mentioned in the story we read, by the way. I'll just finish this and then we'll talk about it. It's true. Maybe you will find out why, and perhaps you won't. Emmett's hair is like that for a reason, though. The team is looking forward to finding out, along with the rest of you.
Oh,
Just like
probably just fell out a tree.
So the story specifically mentions white locks of hair, covering
Yeah.
his mask almost. Like he's got a lot of. It almost sounds like all of his hair is white. Originally,
Yes. It's not entirely clear, but that's
No.
what the impression that it gives.
yeah. what that means. I don't understand. I don't know. I don't understand the significance of this. But hey,
There's a reason.
there's a reason apparently. Maybe that's something to do with like his powers, like the underworld thing. Who knows?
I'm cool with the 12 theory crafting. I'm cool with the Oshon theory, but hair law, I don't know.
We
I don't
gotta
know
know.
about hair law.
No.
You know what? I like hair law more than your stupid Oshon theory because there's actual evidence that suggests there's
there's
reason behind it.
plenty
Because
of
they're
evidence,
actually
thank you,
talking
Jordan.
about it in an interview.
That's true.
Uh-huh,
That's
mhm.
fair.
Denier.
Savage.
Okay. We were particular when it comes to platonic and romantic relationships with the characters in Final Fantasy XIV, especially in their relation to the player character. Sometimes we get away with little scenes hinting at romance. For example, the brief exchange with Alice in Shadowbringers.
I don't know, but don't do
I
that.
don't know
no.
about that one.
Not
Well-
cool, man.
How many players of this game are like teenagers
Just
and,
Rollo.
and perceive their Warriors of Light to be like? Because the Warrior of Light, like we all assume that he's like our age, I guess.
47 or something. He's-
I mean, you can design a Warrior of Light that looks like a horribly aged old man, but not an aged old woman generally. But
No.
I like
Soon.
you can. Also, it's possible you could look at the Warrior of Light and think, yeah, they're 18 or something.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't agree with that interpretation. But like, there may be some.
Remember
people-
that the default official cast Warrior of Light is Dirtlander.
Yeah.
That's true.
So,
That dude's definitely like.
and that's the daddy of light.
Yeah.
Yeah, but remember when he had like a baby face in one point?
That's true.
Yeah,
But
but
that
he
just shows
wasn't
how
like
much
he
older he's
wasn't
gotten.
14.
Yeah, I know he wasn't 14. He wouldn't have been 14 because also Alizé and Alphinaud would have been 11 during 1.0.
Yeah. Okay. Right. In most cases, though, it's up to the player to determine what the relationship is. So, if you imagine there's romantic elements with a particular character, you're perfectly fine in doing so. However, we will not explicitly say whether a character's relationship with the player is romantic or platonic. I know this answer might seem unfair to some, but we do love that players can interpret these relationships in many different ways.
Well, it's a good thing that every character I think that's hot wants to fuck my character.
Yeah.
And you are free to do that.
Oh, God.
I'm valid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever that pig guy is.
The author of the article specifically brought up Emmerich, Horchefont, and Graha.
Right. The visual parallels to Eorzea were intentional by design. From a creator's perspective, of course, it is easier to repurpose environments that already exist. That's not what we did, though. We made some difficult. We made
Doesn't look like it at all.
No, we made some difficult decisions when it came to retaining the spirit of those Realm Reborn zones while bringing something new to them as well. Ishikawa says, I feel bad because I'm part of the group that would give the design team requests on how the different areas would look. Amarang in particular was hard for the teams to coalesce on because it wasn't supposed to be yet another desert environment. There needed to be some visual distinction to the representation. Suzuki says, yes, Amarang was hard. We wanted to make it look like the buildings in the zone eroded due to all the wind and the sand, which is something the art team had never done before. It was a big challenge.
With they had to go to Dubai.
Yeah, with the previous
Yeah.
expansions, the zones complemented new gameplay systems, those being flying mounds in Heavensward and swimming in Stormblood, so there were many high peaks in the former and deep oceans in the latter. But with Shadowbringers, we didn't have any new gameplay mechanics per se, so we weren't designing zones based on mechanics this time, just our imaginations. It was liberating, despite still being difficult.
Oh, yeah. That's better that way, though.
Yeah.
It's, like, look at the Ruby Sea. Come on.
Yeah, the Ruby Sea is the most obvious. Like, look at us, we can swim underwater.
Yeah, there's no combat or content.
Yeah,
No.
The Sea of Clouds is the opposite with flying as
exactly.
well.
So annoying.
I know not many people like swimming in this game, but I thought it was very weird that there wasn't more available to you. Like, I can understand. Okay, Amarang, Yeah, it makes sense. There's no water there.
Yeah.
Why can't you swim in Kalusha or the Tempest?
I agree.
Mm,
And also the areas you can actually do proper diving. Is
right.
Very, and it's really nice. The one in Ilmeg, the underwater ruins and stuff with all the temples
Yeah.
from the whatever that place is called, Verbert.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved exploring
Verbert-
through them. So
Yeah, I would say that's the best designed underwater area.
Mm-hmm.
The source is really boring.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
What, in terms of underwater stuff?
Yeah, in
yeah,
terms of what it looks like underwater.
Yeah, you just have the big whale.
big fish man.
Yeah.
The only time it really comes up, like lore, you going underwater, other than like just looking at Bismarck underwater, is when you have to explore the temples in the Raktika Greatwood that have been submerged.
That underwater bit's nice as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
True.
But other than that, underwater's not really used at all.
No.
You're right. And flying almost less so.
Yeah.
But flying's never really been a.
Well, it
Flying wasn't
usually
even
has
really-
like after end game, like you do the story and then the flying has some extra little areas you can discover with like crafting nodes or something. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's the case, though. I mean, how many of us have all our gatherers? Oh, yeah, I guess you do. Have your gatherers capped at 80. But have you been looking for like timed nodes? Do you know where they all are?
no, not at
No.
all. I only have
Yeah.
botanists at 80, but
So, like, it's possible that like timed nodes
guess,
are in
yeah.
places that you couldn't access without flying.
Mm-hmm.
probably. Yeah.
Because I know specifically in the Tempest there are places that you can't go without flying.
Right. Yeah.
That's true.
Some of the source to it.
Even the-
Yeah,
Ilmeg.
and in
Yeah.
Lakeland, yeah.
Yeah, okay. There were several iterations of Amarot before we got it right, Ishikawa explains. Some of the discussions we had with the dungeon designers involved the dungeon coming to an end around phase 2 in the actual game before you go into space. What?
Excuse me?
The
Oh
dungeon.
god, yeah, the dungeon, that.
Oh, right.
Amarot.
The dungeon.
I was gonna
Like,
say.
what game
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this?
Hang on
Okay.
a sec.
So when the dungeon team came to me and presented Amarot's finale, I said, "That's not what I wanted. Let's go higher, up into the stratosphere. I wanted to see the stars. It was important for the story because I wanted players to see the whole planet was in danger." Suzuki said, "When I heard that's what you wanted, I was a bit worried. The scale was immense, like nothing the dungeon team had done before, but I'm glad she pitched the idea and pushed us further. The final product was well worth it." Agreed.
I'd do anything to see the original one though, where it's like just a little bit higher in the sky. Or
Yeah.
I think it would still be cool to say Amarot from like very slightly higher above, but I think you get that with the Dying Gasp.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. I think it was amazing getting
Yeah.
to that bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well that was that interview by that was
Video games 24/7.
yeah. We need to
Thank you, Video Game 24/7.
thank Dankeschön. Next one is from a Noisy Pixel interview. We'll just jump straight into this. This is a more traditional interview with questions and answers. Was there pressure on you when starting such a large project, especially one that is constantly growing? Ishikawa says, "No matter the scope of the title, whether it's a long scenario or short story, I'm always nervous when writing new material. I find myself in the park late at night with my head in my heads, trying to find my way." So a little bit of a typo.
I assume that was the magazine though.
Yeah.
She didn't just make a weird turn of phrase.
No.
Oh, I like to think that she did actually say
Yeah,
that.
with my head in my head.
So it's stressful.
Yeah. Poor Ishikawa.
Yeah.
I mean, it is stressful because she's trying to satisfy like the entire audience of Final Fantasy XIV, which has a certain degree of expectations up to this point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
thankfully, she's been able to see how much they appreciate her at this by now.
There's also like the added pressure of not only the 14, but like she's making story that is going to become part of Final Fantasy history as well.
That's true.
So yeah, there's the pressure. With Shadowbringers being regarded as one of the best expansions of Final Fantasy XIV, how do you return to work and try to create something better? She says, not just with Shadowbringers, but with other stories that my team and I have written, there have been previous expansions and stories that we were building from. There were ideas that were foreshadowed, as well as feelings and thoughts put into the narrative elements that were put into the game up to this point. For future content, whether it's me or another team member writing, we want to build upon what we already have and what we have established that fans have come to know and love. I think that's how we continue to one-up ourselves and improve, which is all based on our previous efforts in the past. We also pay attention to players' feedback to know what they enjoyed about the storyline and what parts about the story that they've grown attached to. I'm sure players have plenty of unanswered questions, particularly about the Ascians, so there are still elements that we can speak to and depict in our narrative.
Okay, so they do pay attention to players' feedback, but this seems to imply that they use that to influence where the story is going, whereas I feel like in a previous interview they said that they tend not to account for what players say about the story.
Yeah, we read that on the podcast.
I think at some part, yeah, I remember that. I think at some part in this interview as well, they sort of gave some credit to that as well.
Okay.
But I didn't include it because I'm pretty sure we've
we yeah. Well, she's sort of saying that they're looking at, like, if there's something players just don't like, I'm assuming they would be like, okay, maybe not focus on this. Because that makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't want to push something that the player base hates.
That's true.
Drop the old stuff right now.
Or they could. It also might influence them to improve on something that player base thinks is like uninteresting. Like previously, before Shadowbringers, the Ascians were this very amorphous, like just generally evil collection of people that we didn't know much about their motivations. So maybe that influenced them to at least explain that.
Yeah.
That's true.
Are there any projects that you worked on in the past that you'd like to return to? I might just be trying to talk about Chrono Cross with that question. Ishikawa says, I'm interested too. Suzuki says, when it comes to Chrono Cross, I was involved in creating player animation and different tools for the engine. That was pretty fun for me, and it's something that I look back fondly on. It would be nice to do something like that again. There are so many talented developers that joined the company since, so it might be better for me to just pass the torch onto the younger talent.
No.
When did you decide that you wanted to write for video games? Ishikawa says that would probably be during elementary school. When I was in class, we had to write an essay about what we wanted to do in the future. So I actually wrote, I want to be a scenario writer at Square Enix. I'm sure she wrote Squaresoft or Square.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Enix.
Oh,
Yeah, actually just Enix. Yeah.
Enix. Don't think so.
A dream come true then? Yes. So this is all what?
She's one of those people that in school said, I want video games, and she actually did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is all very exciting for you then. Ishikawa says, I would describe myself as being very patient, and I always look at things in a long-term perspective. That way, even if it takes 10 years to get something done, if it's my dream, I will continue to pursue it. Even if it's 20 years, I'm fine with slowly progressing towards it.
But 30's too much.
Since this has been a part of your dream, how have you improved since you started writing? Ishikawa says, before Square Enix, I was with a smaller publisher who would create RPGs. When I arrived at Square Enix, I had the opportunity to talk with team members who have been with the company longer than I have to hone my skills and discuss ideas. These were steps that I took to improve myself. One other thing that I did is practice whenever I can, like when others were sleeping.
Okay.
Okay, so, well, she worked hard.
Yes.
While creating characters for Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers, are there any success stories you can tell us? Suzuki says, from a visual aspect, the Hrothgar race was something that we took on as a challenge, and it was quite a struggle for us to get right. I am proud of the achievements that we were able to make with that race.
Yeah. Visually, I like the design of Hrothgar.
Yeah.
I just wish it was customized them.
Yeah, they're all
Best they
very
could with the
samey.
material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, they're very samey because they have like 4 heads or 3.
Yeah.
4? It's
Yeah.
4, right?
They have 4 heads with 2 hairstyles each that requires a Fantasia to change hair. So,
Like your look.
yeah. Were there any moments of the story that you are most proud of creating? Ishikawa says, I believe it would be the final parts of Shadowbringers once you've gotten to level 79 and defeated Innocence. I love the spelling of that. There's just so much packed in there, and I was able to do everything that I wanted to do and convey. Seeing players experience that final part made me feel like I accomplished what I wanted to do. Suzuki says, since I oversee the creation of cutscenes, we wanted to make sure that the cutscenes were in line with the gameplay experience in Shadowbringers, so we worked really closely with the scenario team to convey these scenes, and I was really proud of that. Yeah, the final scene is pretty good.
Very good.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah. I like learning about some of their backstories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very happy that Ishikawa's getting all the love and attention that she deserves.
Yeah.
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 She's always been sort of like appreciated within the community that because of the work she's done on the Dark Knight storylines and other things that she's been like the Doman half of Stormblood, which was the better half of Stormblood.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know you don't like. I know you don't like Doma and Othard Lakil, but
They're
She
just-
did
think
what
it's
she could with what she was
I don't
given.
think it's.
Yeah, exactly.
I
It's
don't
like
think it's
the light of a million
controversial.
guy.
Yeah.
I don't think it's controversial to say that the Doman story
It's
is the better half
That's correct.
of Stormblood.
It's correct. Yes, I agree with that. Okay. This is from our favorite publisher, PC Games N, which stands for. Let's not go
Network
through
N.
Network N, which basically means network. There you go.
So PC Games Network.
Yes.
If anyone on PC Games Net N watches this, please explain what your website name means.
Yeah. Okay. Final Fantasy XIV has been building its story and world over the course of many years. Do you have an outline of where you want to go over time, or do you start fresh with every update? Ishikawa says, as a base, we do have the different areas and regions that are already established in the world, as well as some of the lore. It's kind of like picking from the options that we have available. That being said, of course, we do have toys in our toy box. We try to figure out which of these elements best fit with particular timing, depending on what we're doing with the expansion. Sometimes there may be elements where there is an established lore, and we have the option to go in one certain direction. But sometimes we might decide that we want to do something brand new. Let's go to the moon! Or something.
Oh,
That's a hint.
hang on.
Oh.
She's code wording us.
Yeah.
She's mentioned the moon.
Yeah. They don't really mention the moon, so...
No.
I think she's trying to tell us something.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
We've heard that A Realm Reborn's main quest is getting condensed in a future update. Will that affect some of the details of the story? And if so, does that affect your approach in writing the plot going forward? Ishikawa says, to offer some clarification on the streamlining of A Realm Reborn quests, we're trying to trim it down. We don't want to destroy the story experience of the earlier narrative. We just wanted to look at some of the quests that are strung together in particular quest lines. If you're trying to get from point A to point B and there are extra tasks, like fucking picking up random shit, and there are extra tasks that are not as important as some of the key points, we would remove them. Especially with the quest line after the base A Realm Reborn game. Patches 2.1 through 2.5, your player character is level 50 at that point, and people were very eager to get into Ishgard. There were a lot of requests, so to speak, so we're trying to review what we can streamline in that process. As you're going through the story quest, you will still encounter those people that you need to meet. We don't intend on changing the general framework of how the narrative is supposed to carry itself throughout those patches. You can rest assured there. I don't think we'll change how we write our stories in the future.
When Breedy gets written out, she's a background character now.
Yeah.
But she still dies.
Yeah.
But just off screen.
Yeah. Can't wait for that change. It feels really pointless doing this story and having to go back to fucking Karn.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you didn't have to go back. It could be your first time because you
Hori
never have to
Boulder,
go there.
how could you? Wasn't it
Yeah, how
Hori
could
Boulder?
you?
I think it was.
No, it wasn't Hori Boulder.
You
It's
live
the
Hori,
Rogadin
man.
that's in
Oh, it's the guy in front of the Ironworks
Revenant's Toll.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rambros.
No, it's not
No.
Rambros. Rambros
like
is
Rambros,
in
don't
St.
you?
Koinak.
Yeah.
One thing I hope is that like the side dialogue of the people in the Waking Sands isn't lost in this condensation.
Yeah,
That's
makes
true.
sense.
Yeah.
Because like it's very skippable, and like hopefully they don't condense it so much that some of it ends up getting like there's nowhere for it to go.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's true. We'll see. I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I trust
And
them
either
to do
way,
this.
Yeah.
You've
it's a
done it
good
anyway.
reason
Yeah.
for us to replay Realm Reborn on stream, so we can
Mm.
notice the changes. Make it good.
I guess that's true.
Yeah,
No.
listen, I got good ideas.
No.
Okay, well.
Yeah. Okay. Do you work? Anyways, we've already done the story. We don't. Why do we care if they've condensed it?
But it would be nice to like just kind of.
Oh
see
yeah,
It would be nice to
seeing
see
it
the
again.
differences.
Sorry, I'm just talking about like why we would care about the streamlining of the story now.
Well,
So
I care
what-
about how other people respond to the story because I would like more people to experience it. And if they can make it more enjoyable by
yeah.
doing this, that's
I mean, that's the
Well,
problem,
it-
isn't it? Right now,
Yes,
it's not
that
enjoyable.
is the problem.
I want to see how good of a job they did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can probably check.
I can't
that
really
out
remember it
sometime.
well enough to say how good a job they did, though.
No.
I did
Well,
it very recently, so
Yeah.
if I was to go back right now, I think I would be able to point out whether they improved it or
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I actually just
messed it up somehow.
Yeah.
I redid a Realm Reborn like last month too on another character.
Last month,
Yeah,
you've been doing a lot of things. While
I
you
don't
have
like.
been
I
doing
don't
this.
know. Like, this is a tangent, but I get like weirdly nostalgic about going through my Realm Reborn,
I can see
and
why.
I'm like, yeah, I remember. I couldn't teleport anywhere. I'm out. I had shitty gear,
Yeah.
and then I'll go through it. Sometimes like, this is nice.
Okay, we need to move on. Do you work closely with the localization team as you're developing the story? Oh, by the way, just a quick side note. For Roar, I was going through some 1.0 footage, and there's this hilarious clip. When they made 1.0, they made this like behind-the-scenes documentary, which is absurd, by the way. There's like a clip where Koji Fox and Soken are in the same room as Tanaka, and it just feels wrong. It's very strange. But there's this clip, and they've clearly set it up so that there's like a camera person just looking around the development.
Let me see if I can
place.
find it for chat.
And Koji is sitting at his desk. This is 1.0 Koji, and he's clearly got his monitors on like the right side, and there's like just the computer like case on the left side. He's got a controller in his hand, and I think the people with the camera have like instructed him to make it to like use his controller and pretend that he's playing the game with a controller. But last second, it seems like Koji is realizing that everyone can see that his monitors are on the wrong side, so he then just stares straight into the wall and pretends to play the game with a controller. It
Here's
is.
a picture from it.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Oh my god, I forgot about
It's so good.
That's good.
Yeah.
quality translation.
Okay. Right. Anyways, do you work closely with the localization team as you're developing the story? For sure, yes. There's really close communication. With the game being available in multiple languages, we have to do it simultaneously. We don't want a situation where we release certain content and it differs between languages. The scenario team and the localization team are actually on the same floor of the office. We consult each other on a regular basis and communicate over IM and Skype. Instant messaging?
What is instant messenger? That's so vague.
Yeah.
I mean, but they're probably using like Spark or whatever that other corporate one people.
Right,
use to
yeah,
post it
they
for.
probably use stuff. Yeah. Right. Sorry. Where am I? Yeah. The localization team might submit a list of questions on certain elements of a scenario, and we make sure that we are all aligned so that any questions will be answered. The art team. This is Suzuki. Actually works with the localization team as well. Whenever we're showing different animations or emotes, things like that. There may be some gestures that would apply
Slipping.
to a Japanese audience because Rollo is here. It's like now
What?
everything's gonna
What am I
fall apart.
doing?
I'm burping on the screen, Rollo.
What
I'm
am I
a
doing?
Dashiki dad. Leave me alone.
People that don't watch streams or are not active on the Discord will have no idea what's happening with your picture, by the way.
No, anything.
No,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
No one will know anything. It is exclusively a Raider thing.
Oh, you're right.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
I
I
think
knew
That's why I thought it'd be really funny.
I feel like it might have slipped into like one of the other channels at some point. Maybe memers. I feel like you're like someone has.
Chat,
posted-
do you
Well,
have
they probably
any idea
found
what
it
this is a
anyway.
reference to?
I like it if you don't understand the reference. It
It's
makes it
just
better.
There are
For
four-
me.
dad.
There are 4 of you that can't respond, but if any
Yeah.
of the others don't understand.
Oh, sorry,
Dad.
audio listeners.
Where I,
I don't want to. I don't even know how to
You
describe.
don't need. It's just a picture of Rollo.
It's just
Okay,
a
chat
pic-
doesn't understand.
It's a
it,
picture
so
of
that's-
Rollo. Okay. Anyways, sorry. Whenever we are showing different animations or emotes, things like that, there are maybe some gestures that would apply to a Japanese audience, but not necessarily to a Western audience. Sometimes we receive advice from the localization team that we might want to change certain ways of expressing things to convey them correctly across a global audience. The same goes for some of the cutscenes. We have planning documents that lay out what we want to do, and the localization team might chime in saying, can we change it to something like this so that it's more culturally recognizable in different countries? That's interesting, because
That is
they
interesting.
have a wide audience, and we all, we have different cultures, so having to, because we know we know that there are some cutscenes that look different. I don't know if they're so much doing that now, but I keep bringing up, we have to bring up Horchefont, which is one of them.
Yeah.
He's very different from the Japanese and the Western one.
That's true.
Well,
yeah.
Horchefont I think it's like 2.3, 2.4
Yeah. Yeah.
is when he was most different, and then
Yeah.
from that point onwards, they tried to make him more uniform across the languages.
Yeah. And then they killed him.
Yeah, so they didn't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah. Has anything surprised you in how players in other regions have reacted to certain elements as opposed to Japanese players? Ishikawa says, by the time we deliver content to players, we already had our discussion with the localization team, so we haven't noticed much of an instance where player feedback was different between the Japanese and Western audiences. But when we discuss it during development, sometimes we realize that there are different ways to interpret things. There's one in particular that I remember being a topic of great debate. When we think of a fist bump from a Japanese perspective, we go knuckle to knuckle. We've been told that Westerners go side by side when they do fist
We've been
bumps.
told.
What does
What?
that mean?
What
We're
does
just
side
saying
by
from our
side mean?
localization department that
Like-
Westerners do this differently. I guess that
How does that work?
the cinnamon swirl that your fist makes on the side, like
Yeah,
swirly.
Yeah,
I guess they do that. Yeah, the swirl. They probably tap swirls in the West apparently, but no, we don't. We go fist to fist.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone
Are they
Or-
talking about the thing where people go like this?
like. That's like an
Yeah,
intricate
exactly.
handshake, is all. That's not a
Yeah.
fist.
Yeah.
I guess it
I don't
is
know
kind
what
of
they're
fist bump.
talking about here.
Yeah, this one, I don't know. Oh, they demonstrated it, but
They
we
demonstrated
don't.
that,
Damn
but we don't
it!
get to see it.
Damn it! It was to be shown in a very important scene, so we had to hash it out really well. We ended up going with the
Resolve.
side fist, so that it's
Huh?
more easily recognizable outside of
What?
Japan.
I don't understand it.
But I
What
still hear the
cutscene is
Japanese
this?
audience asking why isn't it knuckle to knuckle?
Is a scene with Ardbert where it happens? Which one, chat? I don't remember. In the in room.
Really?
Most scenes with Ardbert happen in the in room.
Is this like a dialogue option you
Oh,
have
when
to
they
pick?
touch.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Okay, I think
This-
I know what you're talking about, but I don't
Yeah,
remember
can't-
this.
I can't remember
interaction.
having
It
seen
Fist
that one
bump.
fist
scene-
bump.
It's the scene where it's like, shit's going down. It's like, ah, man, shit sucks. But like, I'm here for you, bro. And then, you touch.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, has there ever been a gear set or bit of world design that looked cool in concept, but just didn't work in the game itself? Suzuki says, to tell you the truth, yeah. There are times when we render something in 3D and we aren't very pleased with it, but we have really talented 3D artists on our team, so we take that rendering and tweak it during our adjustment period. We really polish and brush up the quality. We always hope that whatever we do delivered to players is the best it can be.
We sometimes don't like it, but we have a really talented team, so we don't tell them and
Yeah.
just make them better.
They make shit sometimes, but we love them.
Yeah.
Sometimes they design things that for healers that don't look like dresses, and we get a bit disappointed, so we tell them to fix that up.
That is true, please.
We're out of habit.
One player mentioned how pleased they were to see so many Mesoamerican
Mesoamerican.
and South American references in Shadowbringers. What's your approach to bringing real cultures and mythologies into the game? Ishikawa says, we do take inspiration from different cultures and visual aspects of civilizations around the world. Mesoamerican culture in particular is something I really love, so I wanted to incorporate that in the Rectica Greatwood. With any culture that we reference, we have to make sure we're not just literally copying and pasting it into the game. It needs to make sense within the realm it appears. If we are incorporating it into the areas of the first, or if it's back on the source, it needs to look like it belongs there. We ensure that the lore and the history we've established makes sense in the context of the overall realm of Final Fantasy XIV. Suzuki adds, the same goes for the art side as well. There may be some requests from the different designers and game planners to take reference to different civilizations or different aspects of other cultures. So the art team will also think about how it's going to blend in with the realm of the first. What kind of history would it have taken if it were in that area? We rack our brains on the background of how we're going to incorporate it.
I did a pretty good job, I would say, of that too. Like,
Yeah. Nothing
Because if
feels
you didn't
out of
know-
place, so...
No,
Yeah.
If
you're in a
didn't
deep,
know-
dark jungle. You're going to have ink and
Yeah,
glowing structures.
yeah.
I like how they adapted it with like Aor's creatures from the first, like curls and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
true. Yeah, it worked well.
Mhm.
It was good. It was one of the better ones anyway.
yeah.
Could have worked on the source, really.
It's so different from our Black Shroud
Yeah,
culturally
culturally,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
Smell it
and
all,
visually.
yeah.
turn into hot Sierra civilizations. That's what I'm saying.
Towards the end of Shadowbringers, players defeat Hades, spoilers, without imprisoning him in the... Also, yeah, this... I mean, you're not watching if you haven't finished it. In the White Aura site. But La Habrea was defeated in a similar way and eventually returned. Is Hades done for good? Ishikawa says, with La Habrea, he wasn't literally put into the White Aura site, but he was absorbed into the Dragon's Eye and Estinian pierced it. Although he wasn't imprisoned in the White Aura site, you can technically say he's in the same situation. When Hades revealed his true form and his soul was there, we didn't capture it in the White Aura site. He was held down and pierced with a stake, basically. He was captured and not able to move at that point, and then the Warrior of Light struck him with the blow, so it is believed that Hades has been completely destroyed.
I mean, they can always go back on that, but I feel like at this point in their story, they intend for Hades to be dead.
Yes.
They're gonna bring him back like Xenos.
Yeah.
They shattered the White Aura site and stuck like loads of shards of it in him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's definitely gone.
Yeah.
So that's-
No one's really dead in 14, though, so...
Yeah.
yeah.
Did...
Can't wait for the Zombie Moon Breeder expansion.
I mean, we buried Xenos and he's still alive.
Yeah, that's true. Did Ardbert's soul join with the Warrior of Light, or was that a temporary transfer of power? Ishikawa says it was sort of a merger between Ardbert and the Warrior of Light. Will we ever learn who the Warrior of Light's soul used to belong to? Ishikawa says, forebodingly, we shall see.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's just such a... Of course she's not going to answer that question.
One player mentioned...
Might caught her off guard.
Imagine that.
One player mentioned that their favorite part of the story was the interaction between Thancred and Urianger at Amarang. What's your approach to writing and revising a scene like that? Ishikawa says, first and foremost, we make sure that we establish the characters individually. I try to think about the character to the point where I know exactly who they are, and there's no deviating from their characteristics. In the scene with Thancred and Urianger, Thancred now has this person he really wants to protect, which is Minfilia. I wanted to depict this new feeling...
Sorry. They say Minfilia here.
Oh, yeah, they do.
As if they
That's
didn't
just who
just
she
spoil
is.
the end of the game.
Oh,
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's miniphilia.
Uh-huh. I wanted to
Same
depict this
character.
new feeling of a bond towards someone he feels like family. He's never felt that before. I wanted to bring that out. On the other
He's
hand...
never felt that before.
well, he hasn't.
Surely he had some sort of relationship
With
like that
Lou?
with the old Minfilia.
Oh, and the old Minfilia.
Oh, well, but he's
Yeah.
like rekindled.
Old
that.
one's all busted. It's all about the new one.
Yeah.
Mm,
On the other hand, Urianger is very gentle and kind, but his choice of words tend to be very snobby, very holier than thou. So with this scene, we wanted to bring out the fact that he's now being more careful in how he communicates with others. You have those two characters, and then we have Minfilia, who has her own feelings in her heart. From there, I try to see how we can properly convey what each of them are feeling individually, but at the same time bring it together.
It's just two dads having a little bit of a spat
Yeah,
while their daughter watches.
yeah. And then
Well,
finally,
that's a good point.
what?
Why is no one in this game a parent?
There's parents.
There's not
his
many.
parents, Edmund.
Though. And there's
Oh
no
yeah, there's,
hardly.
there's the
Oh yeah,
Forton.
he was good. Yeah, he was one of the best characters because
He's like
Yeah.
our surrogate father.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
His adopted mom too.
Yeah, Minfilia
Oh, and
has an
actually
adopted.
Philomene as well. Yeah, Philomene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's been a couple, I guess.
There has actually been a couple, yeah.
Varys.
And Varys, yeah.
There's Varys,
Solus.
technically. Solus and
Yeah.
Varys, that's father and
That's
son.
no.
No,
I-
it's father and grandson, though, but still.
Secretly, this game is about dads. You just
Mm.
never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
Rauban and Pippin.
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
I stand corrected.
this is a true daddy game. Okay,
There's not many mothers. That's a good point, though.
yeah. Remember they
I just
asked
thought,
this
especially
question.
within the Scions,
Yeah.
like they're not. Then like it, like Thancred almost feels like he's a father figure for Minfilia. Well, Reen, and he's like protecting his daughter. But there's not many.
Well,
They don't really have
I
any
mean,
stakes in the world.
it sort of needs to. Would it be the same if Oriana's like, sorry, I can't save the world right now. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it'd
go
be
pick up my
funny.
kid in kindergarten.
Yeah, she's in
Most
the play.
Scions, most of the Scions are either young or like the only ones that are like, I guess, old are either mostly dead. Yeah, actually, I think all of the old ones are dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are now.
Yeah.
Rip.
Oh, well, we
in peace.
do have the Mother Crystal.
Yeah.
No, that's
She's
not even
the ultimate mother.
Is she though?
Well, I
They don't even
mean,
feed us anymore.
that's what we're going for right now. That's what we believe in Eorzea, anyways.
The Mother Crystal, the ultimate MILF.
Welcome back, Rollo.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah, back in it.
Finally, is there any significance to the shoe bill that keeps showing up in the main story of Shadowbringers? Ishikawa says it could be a very important character, maybe, because it does appear in the level 80 Amarot dungeon. It could potentially be something very important. With that being said, it is very much shrouded in mystery. It has been observing our warriors of light from afar. When you look back, there it is. So it may be quite a challenge to unravel what mystery it contains.
Yeah, what a challenge.
Would you be upset if, like, the shoe bill became, like, a big plot point, like, actually?
No, I wouldn't. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd be upset if it became someone completely nonsensical, like Urianger or
No.
something.
It contains the soul of
The
Hyflodius.
Shubel's
Yeah.
That's my theory.
The Shubel's like, "Psst, warrior, like, it's me, Zodiark.
Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anyone. I've been here all along.
I'm hiding in this bird.
I have a fucking beak. Do you see the size of my beak?
I almost ate the
Like-
Crystal Exarch.
I used to be a god. Okay. Let's do some Mogmel because we actually have time. That is the end of our interviews. Not our
Wow.
interviews, but
Hey.
the interviews. Let's it's been a while since we've done this. This one isn't rendered, so I'm just gonna have to read it, but we'll run the intro.
What about what? Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask about that.
Because we'll read the first one, right?
Go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, this isn't. Oh God, that was. Let's. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. This one's from Brema Ket from Mateus. Sorry that there's no render on screen. I had to finish Roar. Hey, speakers, and welcome back to Rollo. Hopefully,
Welcome back
to you.
to Rollo. We're here at Rollo now.
Yeah.
We actually did get this question last week, but we
did,
didn't.
Oh.
but I held it back because I knew that Rollo might be here this week.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about the sound that destroyed the world that once was, and came up with some theories. What?
It's
What are you laughing
it's
at?
just straight in. It's like, hi, speakers, and welcome back. I've been thinking about the sound that destroyed the world.
Well, I like it. I like they're straight to
Yeah,
the
I
point.
like it too.
Yeah.
Straight to the point.
We learned from the debating Amuratines that there were other cities on the world that were experiencing the calamity well before it hit Amarot, but it didn't break as bad as it did. But it didn't break as bad as it did and threatened to destroy the planet until it hit Amarot, due to the creation magics causing their worst nightmares to manifest. We know that Amoratines were effectively immortal and supposedly using their own life energies to create things, so to me it stands to reason that there are 2 more elements than the 8 we know of: fire, ice, earth, wind, water, lightning, light, dark, life, and death. My theory is the Amoratines who were suffused with life ether accidentally caused a calamity of life that destroyed their world. Love the show, can't wait to hear your thoughts. Thank you, Brema.
That's a cool idea.
That is
Yeah.
a cool idea. Because we're already sown the seed. Because the seed has already been sown when Oriange talks to us about the Umbral and Astral stuff, and they're like, maybe we got everything wrong. So maybe originally there were more elements, life and death, because life and death is a big theme now, especially with Emmett Selk.
And in old games, there was usually holy and
Yes, well,
death, or holy and darkness, or
yeah,
there
yeah.
have been different variations of it. So having light, dark, life, and death isn't so bad.
No,
Yeah.
yeah,
The idea, it sort of makes sense as well because, like, the first and the source both have different perspectives on associations between life and death and light and dark.
yes.
So the idea that they could be separate elements would be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like any kind of corrections, or not corrections, but like hidden truths about the elements are definitely going to come through the Eden's Gate
Oh yeah.
stuff.
Mm.
Like that's where we're going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because story-wise in Eden right now, mild spoilers, I guess, although this should be known to you even before the raid came out, we are dealing with, well, maybe not. We are now dealing with someone who's apparently coming from the void or something related to it. So
Well, and supposedly the
Oracle of Darkness?
Oracle of Darkness, which is madness.
Yeah.
Pretty big thing to just leave out the main story, by
Yeah.
the way.
I know.
It makes sense, but I don't know if you've kept up on this, Rolla, but they did say that Eden was originally meant to be main scenario.
Oh.
So
Okay.
that might be why we're getting like some of these bigger plot points that they sort of left for this raid now. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, in the very earliest drafts, Eden was the final boss of this
Eden was
expansion.
4-3.
Yeah, Eden was Vol 3.
I don't think that would have been as good.
No, I don't know.
No, I don't
that
think it
was
would
the
be as
case.
good, but
Yeah.
hopefully they can do something interesting with the Eden's Gate.
Yeah,
Aside content, I think that would be good, but not.
Yeah, it would have been okay though.
yeah,
It's like this terrifying,
Well-
imposing, floating death monster.
yeah.
But how much can you humanize that?
Well, no, you can't. But I like the idea that it was the original.
And we just had something that was unhuman in the last expansion.
Yeah. Well, we could.
true.
It could have had like an. Oh yeah, we. Yeah, it would be too much like Omega. Like have like an avatar or something that would be.
Oh no, I was thinking of Xenos.
Oh, you were thinking of
Avatar,
Xenos.
that's
I thought you were thinking about Omega. Okay.
No, I was just making a joke about how
Oh, I
interesting,
see.
uninteresting
I
Xenos
see.
is.
I get it now.
Will Omega turn to a sexy girl by the end? I guess we'll see.
I
Omega.
mean, it's already half sexy girl, isn't it?
I know. It's
kind
they
of,
thought-
but it's like polite and weird. I
Kind
don't
of.
like it.
I don't like it either.
If she's got feet, I mean, she's a queen.
She can step on you.
Oh god. Right. Yeah, it's very interesting. A calamity of life.
I assume, like, if you're constantly bringing new things into being, then the ether will run thin or something, and
Yeah.
that would cause a calamity, maybe.
Yeah.
I prefer that the noise was just some sort of, like, Lovecraftian horror. Like,
Yeah.
just horrible underworld demon monsters. But,
Yeah.
you know.
The idea that there could be a calamity of death is very amusing.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
so vague.
So lots of people get born or something. It's like a population boom.
Maybe. Yeah. And like how?
Yeah,
Isn't,
a calamity of life. I feel like a calamity of life would be like overpopulation. Yeah.
Yeah.
The calamity of death was the most recent, the 8th, I guess, maybe?
Yeah. Well. Yeah. So.
No, this one was supposed to be a calamity of light.
Yes, that was the calamity.
Well, how?
I know it is a little bit.
Because it's stasis.
Yeah. It's the
Oh
black
god, yeah,
rose.
of course, yeah, that thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Did we ever learn what the 7th umbral calamity was again? Is it unexpected or is it
It seemed to be darkness
right?
from the example that we
Yeah.
saw in Urianje's cabin.
Yeah, it must have been dark.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. Let's take another one. This one, thank you.
Thank you.
Brahma Cat.
Thank you. Thank you
Brahma.
for the welcome.
Thank
back.
you.
Okay, next one is from Sony Mar Genova. I had a thought when you were talking about the moon in episode 160. It was mentioned that there is a moon on the first, and the theory is that the moon is Zodiark's prison. My theory is that Zodiark was sundered too. Then the moon on the first would Then the moon in the first would be where that piece of Zodiark is held, and Hydaelyn is sundered too, which would explain why on occasion it is mentioned how weak she is and why she can't protect us long term against a possibly unsundered artifact like the Heart of Sabik.
I'm down with that. I'm okay with Zodiac being split into X
Yeah,
number
to
as
me
well.
that makes 100%
Yeah, it makes
sense.
perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. With how they have to rejoin the ether, they also have to rejoin their god. That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Every moon has to come crashing together.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, go on.
It also sort of makes sense to me why Zodiac is the moon and is smaller, because Hydaelyn was specifically summoned with the purpose of destroying Zodiac,
Yes.
so it makes sense
That's
that she
true.
was bigger.
Mhm.
And also, I feel like in the Amarot dungeon, we now know that there's no moon.
Yeah.
I mean, they might have just not added it for aesthetics,
Mm.
and it might also be on the other side of the planet. But considering how much focus there has been on this fucking moon stuff,
That's true.
it's very
wouldn't
strange
leave
to
it
not
out.
have it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Unless
kind
on
of
purpose.
attention. Yeah, it's the kind of attention to detail that you would expect them to know about.
Yeah.
They wouldn't
Yeah.
purposefully exclude it.
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't accidentally exclude it.
Right. It also makes me
Yeah.
wonder, like, that's probably why they are stationed on the moon. First of all, what happens to the moon during a calamity? Nothing, right? The moon's just chilling.
I wouldn't say there's nothing on
Well,
there.
you don't-
Supposedly there's nothing on there.
Yeah,
You
well,
don't know what
there's a
happens to it, really.
statue, and there's like
We're
a
not
big
supposed
marking.
to know about.
Yeah,
You're not
well,
meant to know about that.
Are we not? Where is it from?
Oh, they were data mined.
Yeah, there was
but
like
it's
you
part
could
of
see
a
maybe the corner
cutscene, and you can like see.
Yeah, but you've never been able to say the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but
We've never-
it's hinted at.
That top down view that you've seen, that's a data mine. That has never been shown. in the game.
But
Okay.
I guess the moon just like, I don't know. I think the ether probably just absorbs into Zodiac and he gets a bit stronger. But I don't think anything special will happen.
No, but I think they're stationed on the moon now because once the rejoining is
There's one
complete,
person now.
he'll probably there's one person now. That's where he will appear. That's,
Yeah, and it'll be another
spawn point.
Bahamut.
Yeah.
God, can you imagine that? And then we'll have no moon.
Yeah.
No, all our moons were monsters.
All of our moons are cursed, but that kind of makes sense considering how our world came to be. The moon is Zodiark, so
Yeah.
When Zodiark is born and hatches, what will happen to the tides?
I don't know.
Oh.
We don't know if he's gonna hatch like an egg.
There'll be like a replacement.
Do we
moon.
know if
We have to
Do
make
we-
a new moon.
It's not like
do we know if
Hydaelyn
the
is
tides
coming
are
out of.
affected by the moon on our planet?
I'm just going with
Oh, I
real
don't
life
know.
logic,
I have no idea.
but I don't.
Yeah.
It's safe to assume.
I would
for the
hope
most
so.
part.
Yeah.
Or maybe like I don't know. There's like a big fish in
Well,
the ocean just kind of storing things
we-
up.
Yeah. It's that giant fish from 1.0.
Yeah.
He just keeps on swimming.
Yeah.
Causing a ruckus.
That will be another expansion where, like, there's a group of pirates who go whaling and try and kill it, and it'll destroy the tides.
But the
we
theory
have to
about
save them.
Hydaelyn being sundered too, it's not something we've really talked about that much, because we do hear that she's very weak now. Last we spoke to her, she was very weak.
She should be stronger, if anything.
Yeah. So, well, why? Why would she be? Yeah, because of the calamities.
Because she's
but she says
rejoined,
that
so-
the calamities are hurting her.
It doesn't make sense. But she only saying that because it means we won't allow more calamities to happen, because that will bring Zodiac closer to being summoned. I think that's just a
yeah.
misguiding.
It's just
fact
like a
from her.
scare tactic. Like, oh
Yeah, I think she's saying,
I'm
they hurt me
dying.
so much. Yeah. She wants to keep
Also-
herself sundered.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, didn't she use a lot of her? Well, as she claims that she used a lot of her power in when we fought La Habrea the first time,
Oh,
That's
yeah.
also true. She used a lot for that.
Yeah.
which might explain. Like, obviously, we've always been like, oh, La Habrea is really weak. Maybe that explains why we were able to beat La Habrea long before we should have been able to do so.
Yeah,
That's
that's true. Well, I can't wait to learn more about the Hydaelyn side of the story. Hopefully, I'm not expecting that to happen in 5.1. Actually, I don't know what to expect in 5.1, and I kind of like it. I like that I don't
Yeah.
know where it's going, because I feel
Yeah,
like
that's what I want.
yeah. Okay, well, that's it. Thank you, Asoni, for your Mogmail. Remember to send us Mogmail, speakersxiv.com/Mogmail, and we will try to read it when there is time. That's the end of the show. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching live, it's not over. We will go into a post show without Rollo, sadly, but there will be at least
dead.
yeah, there will be a post show. Remember to follow us on Twitter at SpeakersXIV, twitch.tv/SpeakersXIV, youtube.com/SpeakersXIV, exclamation Discord if you're watching live and want to join our Discord server. If you're watching on demand, link is in the description. Again, send us Mogmail, speakersxiv.com/Mogmail. Stay tuned for the post show if you're watching live. Bye!
Bye.